Good evening, President Hilbert. My name is Arthur Burton, and I'm a resident of the 2nd District. And as you know, we have been on a tireless crusade to address the inadequacies of the leadership of Richmond Redevelopment and Housing. And we want to be cautious in our celebration, and we didn't want it to come down here and make it clear that we don't consider the resignation of the former CEO as an end to this problem. And that we simply see that what he was doing as a larger symptom of a government that turns its back on its most vulnerable citizens and refuses to acknowledge the suffering and denies us the basic human dignities of freedom, justice, and liberty. You know, Martin Luther King Jr., he was celebrated Monday, and we had him doing a whole lot of things. We had him, you know, he was cleaning cemeteries. I saw him on TV selling furniture. He was planting gardens. He was, somebody said he was on Broad Street in an Escalade, and somebody said, and that the president had said that he was doing such a good job that he was going to have him to lunch at Mar-a-Lago with him and TK. But there were some things that Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't doing here on Monday. And if he was here, he would have been speaking about a government. He would have been speaking to a government that lacked care and concern and compassion, and that would stand by silent and complicit while its communities were being torn down and its citizens run off and its children left suffering and freezing. And I think he would have been speaking about political appointees that failed and its boards and officers that failed to provide oversight and direction. And I think he would have been marching against public administrators that thought it was all right that a poor use of public dollars was providing citizens basic human needs, and in spite of his own mismanagement, misappropriation, and failure,
30 seconds.
Saw that communities as sinkholes and use other cold words and racist language to defend decisions not to invest in him. And so I'm going to close by saying that we want to reimagine justice in this city as being part of where we see economic empowerment as just as important as the social good or even greater. We want to reimagine justice as being included intentionally on the front end, and not you guys keep trying to fix stuff on the back end. I'm going to close. Grant us a voice to determine our own direction. Grant us the resources to build our own home and communities. Follow the federal laws regarding HUD 964. We want citizens to know their rights. We want to reimagine liberty as residents being able to be partners, community organizations being included. We want to reimagine justice in this city as the end of racist policies and practice. And so I just want y'all to know that we're not finished yet, because we want the needs of our communities met. And we would rather work in partnership with you than have to come down here and TKO somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burton.
Good evening, Mr. President, City Council. The community, has been calling for new leadership at the Housing Authority since at least September. And we publicly informed city leaders of the mismanagement, the failures being carried out through policies and practices of upper management at RHA extensively. To the 9th District councilperson's point, why are evictions being used as crime prevention strategies? Seemingly with the mayor's blessing. It's because the message is being passed down from the previous administration and the federal administration is that we need to destroy black neighborhoods in order to improve them. So why would you care about the quality of life of residents living there right now? when the culture of the city says that we can give $4.9 million to developers to hasten the displacement of residents, but we can't give money for heat, we can't give money for lighting, we can't give money for cameras. We seem to be on a path to forcibly displace entire neighborhoods of people, creating new concentrations of poverty elsewhere. The data shows that this is a failed strategy that does little more than redirect money to developers and investors. The pretty buildings in Blackwell did not improve the quality of life for the residents who live there. This is serious stuff. People are literally dying in this city, dying from poverty, dying from the resulting crime that poverty and desperation breeds, dying from unanswered pleas from Chief Durham and advocates to install cameras to improve the quality of life. I've spoken with staff at various levels in RHA, former staff, commissioners, councilpersons, and community partners. They all paint a picture of an organization corrupt and inept through and through. They paint the picture of an organization whose upper management discourages empowerment of residents and subordinates, that routinely engages in unlawful activity and insulates upper management from accountability. An organization that does not instill its core values of integrity, accountability, customer focus, and teamwork in anything that it does above the field level. The picture of zero oversight and transparency lacking referenced by this body earlier today is mirrored by this picture. In the Mayor's Affordable Housing Summit, where colleagues and I extensively advocated for more authentic community inclusion and solution development, we haven't seen it yet. In this summit, there was a video by Tim Wise that said redlining, the demolition of neighborhoods, and displacement of residents is wholesale violence against black communities. And if we can't call that racism and we can't call that violence, then how are we ever going to solve it?